Hi to everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to Magnify Your Impact today. And this is a great interview for me, to say the very least, because today I'm interviewing a man who, you know, you have a couple of people in your world that have really inspired you, truly inspired you. And, you know, we use this word leader so often. We use the word leadership so often in our world these days. But there are two or three people, I guess, in our lives that we are privileged enough to meet, who we feel are the strongest leaders that we've met in our travels that have really inspired us. And today I'm interviewing a gentleman by the name of Philippe Ouedraogo, and he's got an amazing story. And he's a truly inspirational leader for so many reasons, but the main reason why he's inspired me is Philippe's environment, which he's going to share with you, is one of immense spiritual wealth, but I think physically is an area of the world in West Africa that has been challenged by many different things over the years. And Philippe lives in an amazing country called Burkina Faso in sub-Saharan Africa. That from a literacy perspective has lots of struggles, and from an education perspective, a political perspective, an environmental perspective, you know, has daily challenges. And this is a guy who never gives up, ever. And no matter what the circumstances or the difficulty or the challenges, you know, he just has the determination and the persistence and the courage to just keep going. So I met Philippe, I think about 11 years ago now, 11, 12 years ago. And I've worked with him in Burkina Faso on the ground to support his amazing charity to create a foundation for a large number of children in the north of the country. So I may have stolen a bit of Philippe's thunder, but I'm going to pass you on to Philippe to introduce himself. Good morning, Philippe, and thank you so much for joining us from Burkina Faso.
Good morning, Craig. Thank you for inviting me to speak to you and to your friends all over the world. My name is Philippe, and I'm a pastor and executive director of AEAD, that stands for Christian Relief and Development Support in Burkina Faso.
And Philippe, give us some idea of the size of your reach in Burkina Faso, because I know that you advise the government and have done for many years. I know that you look after tens of thousands of children all over the country. And you're the only person that I know that I can walk anywhere in Burkina Faso with you and everybody says, "Hi, Philippe." So the whole country knows who you are. So just give us an idea of the amount of work that you all do in Burkina Faso.
Thanks, Craig. As you said, I work with a Christian organization called AEAD that has just over 200 people involved as staff, helping to implement all our different programs. I'm also the church leader, the Pentecostal church leader, vice president in Assemblies of God in Burkina Faso. At the church level, we cover the whole nation. We have, you know, like 6,000 churches across the country, and each executive member has some region. So I cover the north and the south of the country in terms. Every 3 years, we cover different parts. So I have a local church. Yes, you are right. We are impacting thousands of people in Burkina Faso, in Cote d'Ivoire, and West Africa. And I'm glad to have known you and have worked with you. And hopefully through you, I will know more people, and hope that my testimony will help them live better and serve better.
Yes, well, you're definitely making that impact, Philippe. And so one of the, I believe I've been with you in Burkina Faso 7 times over the last decade. And one of the times I came to Burkina Faso, you took me to your birthplace, and you were born in the north of Burkina Faso. And so it would be great to hear what inspired you when you were young and where you came from and what gave you the inspiration to be able to help from very limited resources when you were young, to be able to inspire so many people around you. What happened when you were young? What inspired you to take this path?
You are right. I came from a small farming community. Farming community in terms of African terms, small farming, just to produce enough to feed the family, not exporting and not buying a large scale. So I came from that small family. And really, life was a struggle and is still a struggle. What inspired me is the gift of God, just to be able to live. This is a gift because, as you know, in Burkina Faso, today until now, we face two struggles. We face the insecurity, drought and famine and difficulties of life. We also face the COVID-19 as everybody did in the world. But as I was young, what inspired me is God's grace, is the love of God. God saved my life. I could have died when I was young because there wasn't any medical facilities around. There wasn't any school around. So even farming and living, you have to make it yourself in a small family. I had a good father who cared for me. He inspired me. And all my success came around belonging to the local church, becoming a Christian, trusting God, and learning from, my father and the leaders of the family, and going to school and, being willing to serve others. I was inspired that the world we live in should be a nice place to live, and where we can help other people live better. So I really wanted to, I had a conviction when I was young that I'm going to be a leader in a local area. And that leadership is to impact people's life. Although I didn't have anything then, I trust that God will help me to do that. And today I see that fulfillment. So I am pleased to be able to have like a special calling and the gift of God and life to share so that other people will live better as well. I think one of the things that really made me is the education I received from my family. It could be a formal education, going to school. Even that, my father has to cycle, to so many kilometers. First, I went to Gursi, 12 kilometers away, then 45 kilometers away. And my dad had to cycle over 700 kilometers to put me in a secondary school. He didn't succeed. So it was mainly the non-formal education from the family, the beliefs in God, and the care, the investment of my parents in my younger life. And then when I become a little bit a teenage, and I met Jesus in my life, I became a Christian, I also accepted to serve with the model my father gave me, or even be ready to serve whoever comes on my way by the grace of God. So I look at people as God made, as people who have needs, and I know that I cannot meet their need. I trust God. God provides for me. He shows me ways of coming alongside. I just come alongside and commit myself to them. And, by love, by care, by edification, by advice, by prayer, all this helps me to be able to bring an impact. Yes, there are 20 million people in Burkina Faso. I am just one of them. But God gave us grace to impact so many of them in the life we have. But this is not me. This is God. And this is friendship with people like yourself. If you weren't with me, I wouldn't be able to build that new school at Bethel Gursi, and with Article 25 and other people. So yes, with connections, with hard work, with loving your neighbor, seeking the well-being of other people first. I'm happy that we are able to do that, and we wish we could be able to do more, even in Burkina Faso and other parts of the world.
Philippe, I agree with you and I disagree with you. Because I think that we're all equal. But I think that you have developed inside you over watching and understanding how to create this magnification of your impact. And you know, so I think you have a particular skill, a particular way of being able to help people with love. And I would love to find out, I know you've accepted that that is your path and to put other people before yourself. But I think as well as God giving you your belief in God that gives you that strength and that faith and that belief, can you tell us a bit more at an environmental level or a behavioral level? What has guided you on top of your faith? What has guided you to choose this instead of a business, instead of going to a different part of the world, instead of opening shops? What gives you the belief and the drive to be able to support your fellow man? Is there anything else?
Yes. I like your idea of opening shops because you give work to people, you feed people, you create wealth, and you can distribute. But God created man into his likeness. Man, human being, has the body, the mind, and the spirit. Is formed of three kinds of, these three elements forms a human being. For me, the priority is to make somebody happier. The priority is to make somebody meet somebody's basic need, to make somebody laugh, to make somebody able to love one another, to make somebody work, to make somebody not be burdened. I'm not just aiming at making money. Money is very good. You know, if you have plenty of money, I can use it. But money doesn't make people happy. You look at the COVID situation and the world economy coming down with the big banks and all the inflation and so forth. I choose to serve with the grace God gave me, but within that path, there is a discipline. You know, I have chosen that discipline. I have chosen to be happy with little. I have chosen to work very hard. I have chosen to listen to the elder people. I have chosen to study very hard. I have chosen sometimes to go hungry. I have chosen to be fair if I can. I'm not the best person in the world. You know, I'm not claiming that I am somebody. But there is a way of life that I have chosen, and God helped me. He worked with me in this capacity. So from that path, then there is results. When people look at me, they can trust me, they can come and ask advice. I can go to them. I want to make them better, to be able to read, to be able to have clean water, to be able to have food, to be able to send their children to school. I want to create education that meets them. In fact, loving your neighbor. Then yes, you need to create wealth to do that as well. But I will put the person first, and then the economy will come second.
When do you feel that you chose this? What age were you where you suddenly said, okay, this is it, this is what I'm doing? When did you choose this path?
I chose that way when I gave my life, entirely my life to God. You know, Craig, you can choose to have breakfast
Philippe,
in the morning.
can we switch off the computer?
Yeah. Okay. Then yeah, he'll choose out the computer. We'll remain with the phone.
Yeah, continue with the phone.
Fine. Thank you. Sorry for that.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
You can choose. Come back with the question again.
So, when did you choose this leadership position? When did you choose to serve? When do you remember doing that? What was the big moment that you said, this is my path, I never give up, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life?
Fine. Thank you so much, Craig, for reminding me, because you have either to be the boss of your life or allow somebody to lead your life. You know, I can say, I know what is good for me. Nobody can tell me anything. This is one choice of life. I can say I believe in God, but not be good to human being, which is contradictory to your faith. All this happened when I surrender my life. When I become Christian, I said, from now on, I'm not very good to myself. I believe God can come in my life through the person of Jesus Christ, that's faith again, that's spirituality. And I believe he can help me. So I surrender. I have a Lord, I have a master, not money, not witchcraft, not knowledge, but my Lord is Jesus. My Lord is God. So I believe the way he speaks to me through the Bible, the way he speaks to me through the church, the way he speaks to me through nature, the way he leads me to meet somebody like Craig and other friends, I am open. So I receive God's guidance through this, and that's where I receive my lessons. Do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. So when I was young, when I was, let's say, the choice was around 15, 17, and I have to start taking care of myself. And at the age of 17, I started working. I left school because I couldn't go to school because there is no proper mechanism for me to jump the ladder. So I have to start working earlier, and I learned it young at that age. And from that time, it was a different turn, like conversion until now.
And Philippe, you've through your work, you've created a big team around you, and many of your team are, I've met a number of your team, and you have a great team around you. What do you think is most important when you're creating your teams? What's most important?
The most important is to make, in a way, like disciples, to make friends, to share your vision with other people. There's no point me having it all and having it to myself. That's not good value. Whatever I receive, I want to make disciples around. I want to share. This is how I receive it. This is the way I do it. If you try it, maybe it will work for you. So I build that character. I coach them. I go through hardship with them so that them in turn will understand, will accept, will love, and they will do better than me. And that's why you will notice that I have people around me, but I have sometimes the family members who cannot run away. Whether good times or bad times, they cannot run away. Like this young man sitting here, he cannot run away. So my job is
Craig, you're laughing too much at me. Good morning. I'm just coaching my dad, okay? I don't like the way you're laughing at me.
It's great to see you.
I'll meet you sometime soon. Take care.
Yeah, thank you.
So my desire is to train other people to do better. So my life will be easier because I cannot do the same thing all the time.
Yes. And so, Philippe, when you look at hardship, what helps you, no matter how much hardship you have? When I talk to you about hardship, you just say everything is good. We're going forward. And that is a very unusual thing, because a lot of people, when they're in hardship, they worry and they don't smile and they moan and they say it's not fair and why me? And whatever is happening in your country, I phone you when there's a tragedy and a disaster, and you say, I am well, I'm good. You must come and be with us, no matter what's happening to your country. Talk to me more about that psychology, because that's not just faith. That's about Philippe. Philippe has this thing that everybody should have, that is just like, keep going, we're going to do this. So tell me about that.
Depends on value. As you know, God has given me a privilege, taking me from the north of Burkina Faso in a small rural farm to send me to Oxford to do a PhD. So I could have come next door to you and even work in your organization. I can even claim to be a British and just be with you. But I decided to come back to Burkina Faso. I decided to go back to the north. I decided not to stay in Europe nor America, because what I have received, I need to pass it on. It is a value thing. It is a gift from God that doesn't belong to me, and so my role is to hold it and pass it on. So what is different is the choice and knowing that it's come from God, and knowing that I have to spend my life to help other people.
But a lot of people think it's come from God and they still moan.
Or depends of your inner being. It depends of what you're fed every day. You know, I can look out and it's hot, it's dusty. Maybe my car do not have a petrol, or somebody is sick, or somebody passed away. But my inner being, I feed myself with the word of God. That's the Bible. I read the Bible almost every day. I listen and try to discern God's voice in my life. My life doesn't belong to me. My life belongs to somebody, and he owns my life and directs my life. If I don't allow him to speak to me and help me, I'll make my life a disaster, if even I have a lot of money in my pockets. So I refer to God, or refer to his word, or to the Bible, and I try to imitate and follow that path. And I've seen that he helps me go through no matter difficulties in life. He helps me through. So I'm happy with you. I'm laughing. I hope I will still laugh in the future.
Yes. So, so Philippe, you've seen lots of different people in your life. You've met with lots of different people. Who are the people who are the 2 or 3 people that have inspired you most? And why have they inspired you?
I will come back to my biological father, that old man who hasn't been to school. He passed away at the age of 93, a few years past. But the way he lived from being a traditional believer, and then he moved to Islam, and then he moved to Christianity. So he tested all religions in our area. But when he became Christian, I was the first son to be born in a family. He gave me the name Philip. The way he lived by example, his love, his care, his prayer, the way he provides, you know, he will go to the second mile to make his children happier and better. So he influenced my life. But when I was moving through education or training and working with people, those who trained me in schools or at university level had some impact, because they transfer skills, they transfer knowledge, they put me into tests, they watch me grow. And I think it's good to help people grow. It's good to watch people grow through difficulties. And those who did that to me influenced most of my life. And I'm very pleased about that. And I want to continue to do that to other people.
What does difficulties teach people, Philippe? When somebody suffers or has difficulty, what does it teach them?
Teach them humility, and teach them to know that they haven't got it all for themselves. Their insurance doesn't cover everything. And teach them love. Teach them that you don't know everything. You have to rely on some other people's advice. Teach you relationship, and teach you family and community living. So you don't make it yourself. You don't go your way, but you co-work with people. You look for harmony in your society.
And talk to me about the importance of community. In other words, you know, I understand about the faith-based community that you have, but talk to me about the importance of being with the community. What does it give people to be able to put your life in somebody else's hands?
One needs to remind ourselves that the first society is a family. And we need to look at the family as instituted by God, as created by God. A man and a wife getting married, having children, creating a family. That's the norm from the Bible side, from God's side. But this is not the norm in our 2020 philosophy and laws and beliefs. People are challenging that. So from the family, from the husband, from the wife, from the children, then you create society, and this society will go to school. This society will become the government. This society will become the bankers. This society will be the research. This society will create wealth for the world. So if you jump all this and go to your philosophical thinking, your capitalist thinking, or your gain, for the well-being, just for me, no matter what happened to my neighbor, then you might have some of the results, but not all the results. So I believe start with a family, a strong family, impact your community, show the way, lead your community, and your community will impact the government, and you'll have better government. You cannot just vote people and ask them to do things right for the community. They haven't learned it. They don't come from this this background. They need to grow into it, and then they will serve. So I start with the family, I go to community, and then I will move to society.
And Philippe, you've experienced many challenges in Burkina Faso over 60 years. What do you think are the biggest challenges that you face as a country right now, and how do you feel that you need to overcome them?
One of the biggest challenges we are facing today is insecurity. Like, hundreds of villages in the north having to run away from the terrorism and coming down to the center and not being well accommodated, not having access to clean water, not having access to food. This is a great challenge. This is really sad. When I see it, I'm not very happy. I try to analyze and understand, but I think, the politics is not very right as well. People are not honest to each other. So we need to reconquer our country. We need to provide the basic services for everyone in all the villages. We need to bring peace. We need to be true to one another. But this is from the inside. If the inside is not right, and the inside is motivated by let's say, by ideological policy, or by gaining just money, or by doing bad to your neighbor, then that will not be straight. But we need strong system, we need strong governance, and we need good governance, and we need the community to be involved. I think I will not blame only the government side, the leadership side. I will blame the community side. Again, that community members need to be well established with love, with respect, with truth, and with caring for others, and not having double language. So we hopefully that with good leadership we'll overcome that in months or years to come.
Philippe, what are the 2 or 3 moments in your life that have taught you the most? What physical moments? Was it coming to Oxford, or was it talking to your father, or was it setting up your first school, or having your children? There's so many moments that you've had in your life that have guided you. Give us some physical landmarks as to what these 2 or 3 moments were that were most important to you, that guided you, and why were they so important?
I think there are so many things that impacted my life, but the greatest will be becoming a Christian, not bearing the name Philip, but giving my life to Jesus, saying from now on, Philip will not lead Philip as Philip thinks, but Philip will live as God wants Philip to live, and the guidebook is the Bible. I'm not a good best Christian, but I model that. When I do that, I believe God is caring as you are witness. The second thing is the discipline through education. Not just reading books, not making exams, not getting a PhD, but education in life, education in a family, education in a community. Being able to receive critiques from the elder people and say, you are not right, you shouldn't do that, you should do this. Being humble to receive this instruction. I've learned a lot from that, and from training. People train me. I've also learned, the last thing I will add is the place of family. I know family is not the best place in the world today, especially in some area in Europe where the family is not stable. There's a lot of divorce. People are living single parents, and people live the way they wanted. So the harmony in the family is not there. But my strength comes from the family. The way I was raised, the ways I got married, the way God gave us children, the way we live with the family. You know, I'm a granddad of 7 grandchildren. So if you look at me, you wonder how old I am. I am 66 years old. So the family is important. It is with the family I serve. I introduced you to Daniel. You saw Stefan, and Muriel is busy. These are our 3 children. And you know, you see Martin and others as well. So family is important. I'm not saying the family will do everything. Some family might even combat your vision and may not accept and not follow. But there's no point today to run away from the family. I know there are concepts of development, concept of economy, who said, don't build a family business because there is that risk of risks involved in the family. But I would say family is important. So Christian life, discipline through education, family is really good. And friendship, like yourself and other people outside Burkina Faso, that's very important. We relate to our local government, to the national government. We relate to other partners across the world. We are willing, we are here to serve. If you agree with what we are doing, wherever you come from, whatever is your belief system, if you are happy to agree with what we want to do things, I'm willing to collaborate with you. So these are very important for me.
Philippe, when you have a big challenge, like I've been in Burkina Faso with you, where I've seen you know, people very sick, and I've seen 1 or 2 ladies who died while I was in Burkina Faso on the road and different things. When you have a real challenge, what do you say to yourself to be able to support the families or support the communities? What's most important when people are upset or have difficult circumstances? What do you say to them that inspires them to keep going?
When people go through difficulties like that, they can hardly listen to words. They can hear the noise, but they don't register the message into their heart. The best for me is to be closer to them and encourage them. Be courageous. We love you. We are with you. Whatever we can do to help, you know, we will do. Just being present, but we might not be present all the time. We have to care for the immediate needs. Do they need food? Do they need water? Do they need transport? What is their immediate need? You know, do they need someone to look after their children? Do they need a lift and so forth? So we try to put ourselves into their shoes and help them go through these difficulties. Craig, I guarantee you that will stay with people in life. And later on, they come and say, thank you for, you know, being with us, for assisting us.
What's your strategy or your process that's helped you to go bigger and bigger?
My process is like loving my neighbor. You know, it is like a word I have borrowed from the Bible. Helping the neighbor. Whatever you have doesn't stay with you. Whatever I have to share. I could share from the family level. I could share at the church level. I could go and share at the community level. I can influence policies at the local, regional, and national, or even international. The desire is not to keep it to myself, but to contribute to the well-being. God has loved the world. God has loved everybody. And some people do not have the same privilege. The privilege you have sitting in your part of London is different than the privilege I will sit in the north of Burkina Faso. It's not the same content. But whatever I have, even I have it from my relationship with you, I want to pass it on and make sure that development doesn't come just at the family level. Development doesn't come just at the community level. You have to influence the policies. You have to make right decisions so that there will be peace and that people will benefit from the wealth God has created. So, yeah, I want to reach everyone, you know, whatever opportunities God gave me, like through my Skype with you, you know, I'm talking to people from different parts of the world I haven't seen, but I hope that investing and aiming and transforming people and investing in people and working will help them impact their community.
And with this though, Philippe, is that sometimes you have a decision where you will build this building or you build that building. or sometimes you have a decision where you'll spend the money here or there. I know that God is guiding you, but there'll be also a physical strategy where you decide to put this here, not this here. They both need your help.
Exactly.
You know, so I'm interested in what is your strategy, because you decide big decisions with lots of different things, with lots of different people in the country, you know, and that's your mind as well as your heart, as well as your values. So how have you learned to make decisions?
I have learned to make decisions by diversifying the investment.
Okay.
I could have worked in, like the village you visited. When the local government came to that village and saw the well we dug and the school we built, they said, we are working good, but it's a small village. Come to the center, come to the town. We will give you land. And they have given me 7.5 hectares of land around the administrative building to develop services, knowing that I'm a Christian. And that community is 95%, 96, 97% Muslim. They trust that I can build a school for their children. And you, Craig, you helped me build that school. So the strategy, the philosophy is to meet real needs of people. Wherever real need shows up, if you have a small resources, you try to meet that, but not just spreading like butter on the bread, but making sure you transform at least somebody's life. And then when that is, you have achieved that, you could also move to a next location. But bear in mind, it is a strategy impacting nation. From Burkina Faso, we are now working in Cote d'Ivoire, next country. We try to cover, and we know that there are also needs there. And sometimes people in Guinea, people in Mali, people in Togo, people in Benin, people in Senegal, people in Gabon, in Africa, are calling for AEAD to come and assist them. We cannot do it all, but we are not staying in one particular place. So we diversify, and we want to invest in like-minded people, and we want to empower family at community level.
If there was one piece of advice, Philippe, my final question, if there was one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who's running an NGO or a social enterprise or a non-for-profit organization, and they're looking to lead their teams, what's the biggest piece of advice that you have for them?
I will say 3 things. Knowing that my audience will vary and everyone can pick up this and not the other. But my first advice is to aim towards transforming people's life for the better. Make sure whatever you do in life will impact somebody's life and transform that. Make a good contribution to his life. I know it's not easy when you have to work with handicapped people, and some people, you know, it's difficult for them to recover all their senses, but at least that person is not isolated. So there are people around. Investing in people rather than just making money and letting it sit at the bank. Second, invest in people who can run with your vision. If you have a vision like you have, Craig, invest in people like you have different committees. You move from one level to another. You find people who can run with your vision. You work with them, you pass them your vision, and you invest in them. And lastly, as I said earlier, invest in your family. I know people will receive me differently, but it's not too late. You know, work on your family relationship. And you can even promote family businesses. In some regulations, it might not be recommended, but at a long term, when you look at history, family businesses last longer, last very long. You look at things, you see, they put the year their family set up this business. It's not corruption. It's just you know, making sure if you are good to the world, why not be good to your family? Why not train your people? So transforming people's life, invest in people who can run with your vision and work at the family level as well. Do not neglect your family.
That's really powerful. Philippe, thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending this time and this energy with us. And I also want to take this opportunity in saying thank you so much for the impact that you're making to teach and guide all of us that have had the privilege of working alongside you in Burkina Faso. It's truly inspirational what you continue to do. And I thank you so much for your friendship and your love, and for the way in which you've taught us how to make impact in sometimes very difficult conditions. So I really appreciate your time and your friendship.
Craig, you are my friend. I
Thank
have left an executive meeting from 9 to 10, and the president was calling me while we were talking. I said I will invest my time with Craig, and then later I'll go to the church. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Family and to your friends.
Bless you. Thank you, Philippe. All the very best.